The tapping started right after the light popped. 1 second I had that yellow hum over me. The next it snapped and there was just the red blink of the emergency beacon and a long aisle of shadows. Then the tapping, little hard clicks on metal, spaced out. Not like rig noise. Not wind. It was slow. 5 in a row. Then a pause. Then 5 again. Something skittered behind the cargo netting to my left. I swung my head and my boot scraped the deck. Metal on metal. Loud in that space. I said, "Who's there?" Which was stupid. There wasn't supposed to be anyone on that level with me. I had come down to check the dead lights and the inventory tags before handover. Simple job. Swap bulbs if I had time. Make sure the drums and crates had their safety tags. Blue for fuel, red for lockout. Names written with marker. We were going light on bulbs and the locker upstairs was a mess, so I brought 2 that I knew were good. I think it was 2. Might have been 1. Doesn't matter. The one above me had just died, and the beacon at the end flickered like a slow heartbeat. There was a draft in that aisle. You can't really get wind there. Not inside the storage deck. Too many walls. Too much steel. But it pushed across my legs and up my back and made the hair lift on my neck. The aisle was tight. Pallets to the right, stacked to shoulder. Drums to the left, strapped in a caged rack. The deck had that sticky oil feel under my boots. Not wet, but not dry. You know. I had my flashlight, but it was crap. The thing cut out if I shook it. I tapped it once and it worked again. The cone of light wobbled down the aisle. I saw tags swinging off straps. Names in black marker. Some smudged. One of them was mine. I swear I saw my name. My last name, anyway. But that didn't make sense. I hadn't tagged anything down here that day. I leaned in to read it, and the beam died. I hit the light again, and it came back. The tag I thought was mine was just wet and smeared. Maybe it was Martinez's. Or Mendez. The handwriting looked like mine. No, it didn't. I was tired. I keep mixing those up. The tapping came again. Same little rhythm. 5 taps. Pause. 5 taps. It was closer. The red beacon blinked, and in the blink I saw a shine before it went dark again. Something low. Like a glove, maybe? I thought it was a rat at first. We get them sometimes on the lower decks. They come in with the containers. But rats don't tap like that. I crouched and swung the light low under the cargo net. There was a smear on the deck plate. A greasy handprint. Fresh. So fresh, it still glistened. I put my fingers near it, and the oil shined on my skin. I wiped it on my pants and stood up fast. No one had been down there for hours. We tag out that deck when we do light work. My tag was on the main hatch upstairs. My name underlined. I remembered writing it. I must have. Something slid out from the net. It was a hand. Just the hand. No arm. No person. It slid on its own, palm down, fingers flexing. The wrist was torn. Not bleeding. Black at the end, like something cooked had snapped. The skin was greasy. The nails were dark and chipped. One nail had a little tattoo faded under it. A tiny anchor on the thumb. I knew that anchor. That was Manny's dumb joke tattoo. Or maybe a sticker. He used to draw it on his thumb. Maybe I was seeing things. The hand went still when my light hit it. Then it tapped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Little quick clicks of nail on deck. The sound went through my teeth. I took a step back and hit a cable spool with my boot. It wobbled and rattled and the red light blinked. I said, "Nope, like that would help." I pulled my radio up. Control? Storage deck? It was just static. A loud wash that clipped out and hissed. I pressed the side again. If anyone's on, I need static again, then something like a voice under it, or maybe just the beacon buzz. The hand curled its fingers under and pulled itself another inch forward. It left prints behind each time. Clear, wet handprints in a trail. It was small, smaller than my hand, I think. No ring on it. I couldn't stop looking at the wrist end. It looked wrong, like the meat had been sealed. I don't want to say more about that part. I told myself it was a prank. I said it out loud. "Very funny," I said. "Okay, good one." My voice sounded too loud. I grabbed a small bucket off a shelf, one of the white 5-gallon ones we use for bolts. I turned it and dropped it over the hand and put my boot on top. It banged once under there. The bucket jumped against my boot. Then again, harder. Nails scraped the plastic. I felt it through my boot. It scratched an X in there. It was fast. I pressed harder, and the bucket slid out from me. It was the oil on the deck. My boot slipped, and the bucket jerked and flipped, and the hand slithered out like a crab's does, fingers first, and was back in the aisle, tapping. I swung my light to follow, and the beam went dead again. I shook it and swore. Tools clattered somewhere down the row. A wrench drew a long scrape across metal and fell. The sound bounced. The cold draft came again. It moved past me like something walked by, but nothing did. I said, "Stop." I don't even know who I was talking to. I wanted to get to the panel at the end and bring the lights up, but the beacon at the end of the aisle quit. Not off. It just froze. Like the blink stopped mid-blink. Then it came back, and then it died. The next beacon farther down the cross aisle started to flicker. Section by section. I'd never seen them go like that. They're on separate circuits. I think they are. I don't know electricity. I know valves. I know straps. I know names on tags. I took a step sideways to go around the hand, and it took a step too, if you can call it a step. It stayed in front of me. Tap, 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 tap. Pause. Tap, 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 tap. 5 each time. My heartbeat counted with it. I said, "I don't want trouble," which is stupid to say to a hand. There was a locker to my right. I grabbed it and yanked it open. The door squealed. Inside was nothing useful. Rags, zip ties, old safety tags. A lock. I had my own lock on my belt too. Red with my name scratched in. I backed up, waited for the hand to lunge. I don't know why I thought it would, and then I scooped it with the bucket again and slammed the whole thing into the locker and kicked the door shut. I jammed the lock through and snapped it. I yanked on it to be sure. It held. I stepped back, breathing hard. I felt dumb. I also felt better. The locker thunked from inside. Once. Twice. Then the tapping. 5 taps inside the metal. It echoed thin through the door. The sound went down the frame into the deck. I could feel it in my heel. Then quiet. I stood with my radio up and my finger on the transmit. Static. Then a crackle, and someone said something like, "Age" or "gauge," and I said, "Repeat," but it went to static again. I kept the button down like that would fix it. The light over me flickered. Came on, went off. The beacons farther away blinked in and out like a line falling. One going out got the next one to go, like dark chasing me from the end. Or maybe I just saw it that way. I was sweating. It was cold. There was another cold draft. It curled around my ankles and ran up my pant legs. I hated that. It felt wrong. I heard something slip inside the locker. A soft sliding sound, like wet skin on steel. Then nothing. No tapping. No thumps. I stood like that for too long, listening. When I finally touched the locker door, it was cold. I put my ear to it. Nothing. I took the lock off. I don't know why I did that. I just had to see. I cracked it a little and took my foot off my heel so I could yank it shut fast if something moved. I counted, then swung it open. The bucket was on its side and empty. Grease smeared in little half circles on the inside walls. Fresh handprints on the back panel climbed up and then disappeared. No vents in that locker. No gaps big enough. I looked down and saw a print at the base of the door, like it had come out under it. The gap wasn't big enough for a finger, but there it was. I'm telling you what I saw, not what makes sense. I said no to nothing. I put my hands on my face and my radio knocked my jaw. I thought about going up. I should have gone up. The hatch to the main walkway was back behind me through 2 more aisles. I turned for it. The aisle behind me went dark. The beacon there did the same slow blink and then nothing. The light above the hatch went out. I saw it pop. I heard that tiny glass crack sound. The dark came in like water, filling the space between racks. I went the other way. The hand was ahead of me again. It rested on the deck like a dead thing until my light hit it. Then it moved. It always moved when I looked. It pulled itself into the cross aisle and left prints that shone like it had dipped in a drum. It went right. Right took you toward the pump cabinets and fuel drums. I didn't want right. I wanted away from anything that could spark. The panel I needed was left. The hand went right anyway. I followed because I felt like if I turned my back on it, it would crawl up me and I would feel it at my neck. I said, "We're done. I get it. Joke's over." I knew it wasn't a joke. I kept saying it. Tools clattered again. A socket fell and rolled, ticking. It hit my boot and I jumped and almost swung the flashlight at my own foot. My breath sounded too big. The draft went the other way now, from behind me forward, like it was trying to push me toward the pumps. The beacons on that side still blinked. Slow, in the red light, the prints looked black. I recognized the anchor tattoo again. The thumb. I put the light steady and leaned. It was an anchor, not a smudge. Manny had done that for a laugh last month. Just a little anchor on his thumb. He was proud of it. Dumb kid. I had told him it would wear off in a week. It hadn't. Or he redid it. Or this wasn't his hand. It was my hand. No, it was smaller. It wasn't mine. I looked at my own left. I don't have any tattoo. I don't even have the same knuckle scars. I couldn't tell. The light bounced. The red blink made it all look fake. My heart felt too big. At the end of the row, a pump cabinet hummed and then kicked. It shouldn't have been on. We were in maintenance mode. There was a smell, hot and sharp. Ozone. Maybe it was a short. There was a thin spit of blue at a junction, like a little arc. It snapped once and I flinched. There were drums to my left with blue tags. I read one because that's what I do when I panic. The marker said fuel filter fluid, and the name under it looked like mine again. It wasn't. It was too smudged. I thought about fire, about vapor. I pictured what a spark would do in there and felt sick. The hand stopped by a low valve wheel. A quarter-turn kill. We use it when we test the line. It sat there and did nothing. I thought it was waiting. I don't know. I raised my foot to step past it and it lifted up on its fingers and tapped the wheel. Not turned, just tapped. 5 taps. Then put the palm on the wheel like it meant something. I said, "You want me to," and felt dumb again. The arc snapped at the junction. Brighter this time. A pop like a bug in a light. The smell got stronger. I reached past and the hand jerked. It banged against the wheel and then my wrist. It was cold. It stuck. Oil smeared on my skin. I swore and grabbed for it. It moved away like a spider. It got to the kill switch on the side of the cabinet. A flat red paddle. It pressed its palm and slid, and the switch dropped. The hum cut. The arc died. The room went still. No hum, only my breathing and the far thump of something up on the deck above. My ears rang from how fast the silence came. The hand rested there with the heel of it against the panel. It was shaking a little. Or maybe that was me. It left a long smear down the face of the switch. The red beacon blinked again. I could see the prints everywhere now. On the deck, up the locker, on the edge of a drum, along the panel. A trail that went in a circle around me. I realized it had been around me more times than I knew. The draft moved across my face like a big, slow breath. I wanted to vomit. I backed into the rack behind me and a clip dug into my spine. I kept my light on it, on the thing, and said, "Okay? Okay? Thank you." I said thank you to a hand. I don't know what else to call it. It had just saved my dumbass. It should have killed me. It could have made that arc hit fuel mist, and that would have been all of us. I thought about running past then. I didn't. It didn't move. The fingers flexed once and then went flat. It looked like it was listening, if a thing like that can listen. I kept waiting for it to come at me. It didn't. It just sat between me and the cross aisle, resting like it was tired. I kept a flashlight on it until my arm shook. My radio clicked. Then the hiss took it again. I keyed up and said my name and where I was and what I'd just done, but the words sounded thin and fake even as I said them. I didn't say the hand part, thy name. I said there was a near arc and I hit the kill, which wasn't true. The static answered. Then a voice. "Copy, storage, hold." It was Walker. Or maybe nobody. I can't be sure. The beacon at the far end flickered fast and then slow. Then everything kind of settled. My breathing went normal, or at least less. The draft died. The aisle felt cramped again like a room, not like a wind tunnel. I took one step forward, and the hand lifted its fingers in a half raise, like a warning. Then it tapped. Slow. Not the earlier 5 quick hits. This was slower. Tap, 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 tap. It matched my pulse. I could feel mine in my throat, and it was the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It stopped. I swallowed, and it tapped one more time. Just one. Like it could tell. Like it was inside me, timing me. I hate saying that. It sounds like a story. It's what happened. I thought about grabbing it and throwing it over. I saw the outside door in my head. The one with the salt line on it. I pictured the drop in the black water slapping the braces. I had almost done it earlier. No, I had done it. I had gotten to the door. I had looked out and there was spray. I had thrown something. A rag? The bucket. Memories slid around. It doesn't hold right. I know I went to the door at some point because my shoulder was wet and the wind had slapped me and the beacon out there was a steady orange. I could hear the sea when I think about it, but there is no sea sound on that level. I'm mixing this all up. I know I tried. The hand was back in front of me anyway. However many times I tried, it kept ahead. Or I only thought about trying and never did. That seems right. I eased to the side. It didn't block me. It turned. Not like it had eyes. It just rotated on the heel so the fingers pointed toward my thigh. It rested. It was maybe 6 inches from me. Closer than I'd let a live person get in a space that tight. I could see a zip tie around the thin part of the wrist. A safety tag tie. Red. The bit you clip off had a little white square stuck to it. There was marker on the square. It looked like a letter. Maybe the first of my name? Maybe an M. I blinked, and it was just smudge. I slid along the rack. The hand slid with, but it didn't close the gap. When I breathed out, I couldn't tell if the cold on my skin was the draft or the smear it had left on me. My throat itched. I wanted to wipe it, but I didn't want to take my eyes off it. I felt oil on my neck when the breeze hit me. I didn't touch it. "Why?" I said. It came out small. "Why me?" I don't know who I was asking. The hand did nothing. It had done enough. It had kept me from getting lit up like a candle, and it had not gone for my face or climbed up my pants. It could have. It didn't. I made it to the cross aisle that went to the hatch. The beacons there were steady again. Or steady enough. My flashlight finally gave a little dying blink and quit for good. I shook it and it came back for a second like it wanted to, then went dead. The red light was all I had then. I took one last look. The hand was still at the cabinet, near the kill switch. Palm down. Fingers spread. Like it was claiming it. Arresting. I left. I went up. My boots clanged on the ladder and my hands slipped once because I had oil on them. I wiped them on my shirt and they left streaks. I didn't look back down through the grating. I didn't want to see it waiting. On the walkway, the air was flat and normal. I could hear regular rig sounds. The radio cleared up like nothing had happened. I told Walker about the Ark again, and he said he'd send someone to check the panel in the morning. I nodded, like he could see me. I didn't say there was something else down there. I didn't say that it hit the switch and saved me. I went to the wash station by the galley and looked in the metal mirror. There was an oily print on my throat. Right side. Thumb up. 5 marks. It looked like a choke for a second. Then it just looked like smears. And then it was gone under the soap. I scrubbed too hard. My skin went red. I kept seeing it. I still feel it sometimes when I try to sleep. The weight of it. The cold. I went back down the next night with 2 new bulbs and another guy. He carried the clipboard. We stayed together. Every light on the deck worked like nothing had ever been wrong. The cabinet was fine. The kill was in the down position. There were no prints. The floor was clean like someone had mopped. We don't mop that floor. No one had logged anything. That's true. I checked. I like things logged. It calms me. I keep thinking about the taps. 5 each time. The little rhythm. I can hear it when the pumps start. I can hear it when I lay my head down. Sometimes I swear I feel cold fingers on my neck. I keep asking why it let me go. Maybe it wasn't me it cared about. Maybe it was the rig, or Manny, or the name on the tag that looked like mine. I don't know. Last night, when I was about to sleep, the bunk squeaked because I moved my foot. The pipe under the wall clicked once. Then the whole room seemed to go still. I could hear my blood in my ear. Then, soft and slow from the hallway through the steel, I heard it. Tap, 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 tap. The exact pace of my pulse. I lay there and counted. I still don't know why it spared me. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, feed the algorithm, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. It's the only way to keep the stories coming. And if you're brave enough, there's another one waiting right after this. See you on the next one.